Yo, what is going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining me. My God, um, it's been a wild few months, few months now. It's almost January. This is coming out December 28th, I believe, December 28th, 2021. 2021's almost over. Um, yeah, I know. So this is just going to be an update podcast. I might get into some topics, but there's a lot has gone on in my life and in the world since I've been on the mic. And I told you guys from the beginning that the podcast was not done. There was a lot of things going on in my life that I had to take care of. And I've taken care of them. We've done a good job. Taylor and I have, we've gotten to the point now where we feel comfortable where we are. I think last episode was probably 2 to 3 weeks ago. Sorry that my face is so red right now. I've been out and about just doing a lot of things. And I think this might be my first episode with my new hair. I got my hair cut. But yeah, let me just get into everything, guys. It's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks since I've done an episode. I'm currently in Roanoke, Virginia, sitting in my closet in my brand new apartment. Yes. So Taylor and I have moved. We have moved about 4.5 hours away from where we lived into a city called Roanoke, Virginia. Obviously, like I said, she has landed a gig. She has a job. She's working. I have a job with one contingency. It was two contingencies. Now it's two contingencies, or now it's one because I completed the other task. It's a good position. It's a finance position. Good money. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. It's been a while. It's been about 2 months. I guess we can just start back from towards the end of school. So I'm currently graduated from Towson University. I graduated from there. I'm not walking. We're not doing a walk this year for whatever reason. They weren't even doing one for fall. But now they're definitely not. Now they're definitely not doing it. But they didn't have one scheduled, so I'm not too upset about that. But so I graduated. I finished school. I got my bachelor's. Haven't received my degree yet. It should be in the mail by the end of January. In addition to that, I am no longer employed at the gym. I did put in my 3 weeks about a month ago. So I'm not working there anymore. I'm currently, I guess you could say, unemployed as of right now. This is the longest I've been unemployed since I've been 15 years old. And I want to apologize about the studio. This is just the basics right now. We are going to work on a lot of different things. Let me just get this mic set up right. I actually just ran out and bought this chair. Hold up. Sorry, guys. Should be good. Okay. I actually just bought this chair that I'm sitting in about 20 minutes ago at a Walmart for $57. It's a pretty nice chair. Goes back. It's pretty nice. But yeah, so I'm in my closet right now. I have one light right here. I got this little gorilla guy, this little chimpanzee, which I still don't have a name yet. I got to finish up. I got to name him. It's definitely a he. I talked to Taylor's father, and he told me it was definitely a he. I couldn't really tell. Males and females both have. They don't wear clothing, obviously, in the world of chimpanzee world. So this is a chimp with a big old pecs and a belly, but his belly looks hard. He's got a hard belly. He's got lips that are puckered a little bit, so kind of feminine in a way. His eyes have no pupils, which I think is kind of tight, actually. And he's covering up his ears. He's an autistic chimp. I'm just kidding. I do that as well when it gets really loud. And I love his feet. Obviously, he's a chimp, so he has 5 toes and 5 fingers. But he's super cool. My sister got him for me, which is pretty awesome. And I've been able to accumulate a few things from my old studio, my old bedroom. Now I'm in a bedroom closet. I don't know if maybe I stepped back in life, but so we were looking for apartments, and we had this one initial apartment. It was downtown Roanoke, and we were pumped about it. It was cheap. It was only $1,000, 2 bedrooms. And as we kind of went along the process, we kind of got sketched out by the apartment complex itself. I'm not going to put them on blast, but we definitely did kind of get, says think 90% of case England or Omicron. Let's stop thinking and actually say things that are true. But we did look for a few apartments. We settled on this one, but it's a 1-bedroom apartment. It's got a kitchen, it's got a bathroom, a large living room. It's got this walk-in closet. I mean, this is, I would say it's about 6 feet, probably 5.5 feet wide. This table that I'm sitting at is actually the original table from my house. So I was able to fit it in the closet. I'm in the corner. Obviously, the corner's right there. But I've been able to bring this painting, and right above me, right above here, I do have 2 shoe collections, 2 shoe holders right up there. So I'm literally in the closet. I'm like Harry Potter up in here, man. I'm just sitting in the closet doing wizard shit. Yeah, so this isn't the final outcome of the studio. I'm gonna get more lights in here. I'm probably gonna get maybe Christmas lights. I do have an outlet in here, which is super dope. But I have brought everything. I have the camera. Obviously, it's being recorded right now on YouTube. I have my arm. I have my mic. I have my my headphones, which I probably won't need because honestly, like the closet is exactly where you want to be. Like studios are set up to be soundproof, and when they're soundproof, you have the best sound quality. So this episode that you guys are listening to, episode 246 or whatever, is gonna be a better sound quality than the other episodes because it's everything's close, tight. I kept my door open today, which I might close it in the future. I kept it open because I don't have that much light. I only have this light, and I want the outdoor light to come in so we can maximize, so you guys can see me on camera. But in the future, I will have double lights in here. I will close the door, and the sound should be impeccable. It should be really good with this Shure SM22 or whatever this mic is, Shure SM7B microphone. This microphone's top of the line. But anyways, so we're here. We got an apartment, her and I, we moved in December. It was crazy. So December, she started today. Today's Monday. Today's the 27th. We got this apartment the 22nd. No, the 23rd was Thursday. So before that, like 2 or 3 weeks, it all started with her. The biggest pivot in all this, and the last 2 episodes I put up, we were in the process, and you could kind of tell in those episodes I was all over the place, and that was because we were moving and just a lot of things were going on, and a lot of things that we weren't really expecting to happen at this time, but we're happy they did. We came up here, so it all started with me getting a job offer, and the job offer was where I'm going to be working soon. I just got to pass one more exam. I passed one already. But it all started with that, and we were kind of deciding like where do we want to live after I get out of school. You know, we want to live in Maryland, right? I think that's both where we are gonna eventually end up. Like, well, before we have kids and get married and all that fun stuff, which is not happening anytime soon. She knows that. I know that. We have great communication in that regard, and in a lot of other regards as well. But we wanted to maximize the amount of money that we made because we know, and there's a lot of issues with relationships and people in general when they don't have money, they don't have cash flow, and they don't have investments, they don't have assets, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, and we know that, and we talk about that. And luckily, she has incredible spending habits. She doesn't spend anything. I have mediocre spending habits. It used to be horrible spending habits. They're 10 times better. But I invest, right? So I have a lot of money invested. I have a decent savings account. But we looked at it very logically, and we're like, how can we make the most money? Well, the way you make the most money is you spend the least amount that you need to spend to survive, and also make the most that you possibly can while also spending the least amount. And it's all got to be equal to your training and what you can bring to the table for an employer. So we were like, okay, so she has a degree in neuroscience. I have a degree in business, but I got this job offer, and the job offer was a good job offer. It's a skilled position, but you need to be certified in 2 places. I'm certified in one. I just got to wait to get certified in the other one. With that being said, let me just look up one thing real quick. Don't want that. 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 Yeah. Nope. Don't care about you. So this job offer was basically like, hey, and this was back in early November. I started studying for the exam November 20th. I passed the exam last 2 weeks ago. I did it in less than a month, and this exam is supposed to take 3 months. So I really focused, and it was hard because, and so when I got this job offer, it was initially for Baltimore, that area. I was like, no, that would be nice, but we're actually planning on moving to Roanoke. So if you could make that work, that would be ideal. And they actually had a job opening. So I took it. I interviewed. I did well in the interview. I think it was like 3 total interviews, maybe two Zoom interviews, and then I met him in person, and I liked it. And I got to get a few certifications. I got one. The second one's gonna be a little bit harder, but it's right up my alley, and I'm not gonna talk about it. If you know me personally, you might know something about it, but otherwise, I'm not gonna speak about it. So that was kind of like the point where we're like, okay, we're moving to Roanoke. This was November 20th when I started training for it, started preparing, studying to take the exam. That Thanksgiving, we came up here because she has family up here. That was one of the reasons why we came up here. And we also know that Roanoke is cheaper. So if we can make more money from what we were both making, and we can both get jobs where we're getting paid more, and then because we want to live on our own, live in a place where living expenses are cheaper, you can just see that gap expand. So we took advantage of that, and we're going to use these next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is, to accumulate the max amount of assets and cash flow earnings, just maximize our earnings, our investments, our savings, everything, real estate, whatever we get into, so we can hopefully move back. And then when we move back, hopefully not have any money issues, like, have good investments saved up, have good money saved up, even have better jobs because of these jobs that we're working. So that was kind of the plan there. And then once I was like, Taylor, so they all actually offered me a job in Roanoke. Should I take it? And she was like, yeah, take it. Because we were kind of on the fence if we wanted to live around here or if we wanted to live up there. And the only thing that was stopping us was kind of like a pull in that direction. And that was a pull in the direction. And we were pumped. So we came up here for Thanksgiving. Her family, her grandparents live up in the mountains here. It's a town called Bent Mountain. So we went up there and we told everybody, hey, this is what we're doing. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. And we got back from Thanksgiving and I just hit the ground running. I put in my 2 weeks, my 3 weeks of that time. My last day of work, I think, was the 17th of December. Yeah, the 17th of December. And from the 26th to the 15th, so November 26th to December 15th, I just studied my ass off, and I ended up taking the exam. I think it was Wednesday, December 15th. I passed the exam the first try, which was I wasn't shocked by. I knew the material. I took probably about 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 practice exams, and I did well in them. And then when I took the exam to get my certification, I passed. And when I passed, as I was taking the exam, the questions were so much easier than the practice exams. And I think it seems like a recurring event that happens for testing is they always make the practice exams like that much harder. I'm sorry, I'm just checking, make sure Taylor doesn't call me because she's should be on lunch break any minute now. And so I took the exam and I passed. I did well. I passed the exam. I was happy about it. And then the next step was this next exam that I haven't started studying yet. It is currently December 27th. I plan on studying this material probably 6 hours a day it says 20 to 50 hours. I think I could probably do it in 30 hours, 5 days. I'll probably do for the next 2 weeks, hopefully schedule the exam for January 10th to the 15th, and then be employed by the middle of January. So it's going to be about a total month off without me working. I can obviously DoorDash if I need to. Roanoke does have decent DoorDashing, not the most money, but enough money. She's working full time, and I have enough money saved up. We had enough money to save up for her projection income for the year, and then my total liquidated assets that I have. We had enough, and we're in a nice community. Like it's definitely not a young community. I would say I would go. I don't think I'd be too pressed to say that Taylor and I are probably the youngest people here. When we were signing up, the lady who took our information and helped us, her name was Bridget. She seemed pretty shocked, and I think it's because of just Taylor and I's spending habits. We're really good with that. So we've been back and forth, I think 5 straight weekends, like literally 5 straight weekends, either to look at apartments. Taylor had an interview. Taylor had another interview. Taylor came up here to look for more apartments. It was chaos. It was chaos. We spent a lot of time driving. On Christmas was Saturday. On Tuesday, we came up here to look for apartments. So that would have been the 14th or the 15th, maybe around that time. It was probably a little bit earlier than that. It was like the 20th or the 21st. We came up here. It was the 20th. We came up here to look for apartments. We went into one. It was okay. Didn't like it. There was nobody on staff to like sign the lease or anything, so that was kind of annoying. And then we found this place. And when we found this place, we fell in love with it. We really liked it. They had like a little balcony out there. It's not that big. It's like 941 square feet. And it's relatively expensive for this area, but it's still cheaper than if we got an apartment in Annapolis. Let's just say this is an upscale apartment, and if we got this in Annapolis, it would be in a rougher area. So we're happy with this decision. It's a good apartment complex that you can have dogs, because we're gonna eventually get a dog. Not anytime, probably not for a little bit, but we will for sure get a dog. She's brought it up. I've brought it up. My fish is in there. Duroc, he's just chilling, living his best life. Taylor's at work, and we're just, I'm waiting to take my exam, and it's all on me right now. And it's exciting. It's exciting. It's something that she wanted to do. It's something that I wanted to do, and we've been able to do it. And our plan is to be here. We signed a 15-month lease, so for at least a year and 3 months. I have a feeling we're probably going to be here, I would say a minimal 2 years, max 5 years. At 5 years, I'll be 30 years old. She'll be 28 years old. We should hopefully, I guarantee we would have accumulated that much wealth by that time. But it's crazy to see. It's crazy it was weird. It was weird. The whole process of moving was kind of strange, because as I was doing it, it seems, as a child, I always thought this is what you did. I always thought you moved. I always thought when you got out of college, you looked for a place. You had a partner that you really liked, that was a best friend, and you looked for a place to move. And it could have been out of the state, and that wasn't a big deal. I thought that's what you did. And I noticed, as I was telling people this, everyone was like, they were shocked, and they were like congratulating me, like, "Oh, you're moving out of state. Oh, they're like, "Where are you moving?" I think they were expecting me to say like Glen Burnie or Pasadena. I was like, "No, we're actually moving to Roanoke, Virginia." They're like, "Oh, so you're moving." I'm like, "Yeah, moving. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?" I guess maybe I'm just naive, or maybe I'm just autistic, or maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know, but I always thought that was kind of the gradual thing that you did as an adult. I thought you went to college. If you chose that route, you get a job at college, you move somewhere with your significant other that you want to live, so you can claim some sort of independence, right? Because I think a lot of times when people don't move from their hometown, what ends up happening is you move in with your significant other, but you're in the same town as everybody else. So there's nothing wrong with having family around you at all times. There's not, people love family. I got off FaceTime with my mom, to show her the apartment, right? So like, there's nothing wrong with family, but I think there is a thing that has to be done when you're an adult. And I think what it is you have to be able to form your own independence. Like, if I need something, I have to do it. If I need to pay for something, I have to pay for it. 1 second. Is that better? I think that's better. And, everybody was happy for me, but it was kind of odd to see some people's reactions like, "Oh, you're moving. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm moving. Like, what are you talking about? There's 50 states in this country. Like, I want to go. I want to be somewhere else besides just what I know. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, it's very logical. To me, I look at it like this, like, well, I know this area, right? I was born in this area, but I like this area. I love this area, but I didn't have a choice in what I loved. You know what I mean? Like, with people, I don't think you really have a choice in who you love either, but but I didn't have a choice on being born in Bowie, then moving to Davisville and experiencing Annapolis and going to I guess I did have that choice, but in the sense of my childhood, so that's all I know. And there's so much more out there. And we wanted to move to the mountains. It's something that we both agreed upon. I never even heard of Roanoke. I didn't know Virginia Tech was different than Virginia until I met Taylor. And then when I came up to Blacksburg, I was like, oh my, this place is beautiful. This place is beautiful. The people here are just more people-ish. They're not like you don't get dirty looks when you go into a place without a mask. You know, people aren't like jumping down your throat if you whatever, you know. It just seems like less judgmental. People seem more people. It just seems, I don't know, I really like it. And everyone has been so supportive this whole time. Like, people have been congratulating Taylor and I for moving, you know, congratulating me for graduating college, which is within 3 days. We moved within 3 days. It was, I took my exam on Wednesday, passed, 15th, 16th, last day of school, final exam, did it. Friday, the 17th, last day of work. Within 3 days, like, I made 3 huge milestones, like new job, graduating school, and passing my exam. So it's basically what I'm trying to say is it's been a busy week. It's been a busy month. It's been a busy 2 months. But if you ask me towards the end of, if you ask me December, if you ask me December 31st of 2020, hey man, what is 2021 going to bring you? I probably wouldn't have said this. I would have hoped for this. I probably wouldn't have said this, but I would have wanted this. This is what I want. We're happy to be here. Obviously it's hard, like, especially for Taylor, you know, she misses her family. She's, you know, her relationship with her family is a lot more, I wouldn't say closer, but it's even, but it's, I grew up more of a latchkey kid. Like, I grew up with, you know, both my parents were full-time police officers. So it was like, to go to baseball practice, it wasn't always my parents who took me. It was like the kid on the team who no one talked to, who I didn't really like, or the kid on the team that was so much better than me, so he didn't talk to me. And like, his mom took us. So like, we would sit in the back of the seat, like, look at each other, be like, we gotta act like we like each other so our parents don't think that we hate each other and we don't have to listen to them bitch and complain to us. But we don't really like each other. You know, I was a kid where it's like, when you got home from school, you had to look for the key. You knew where the key was, you used the key to get in the house. And, you know, that was my childhood. I think hers was a little bit different. You know, people were home. So, like, the relationship I have with my parents it's not, I wouldn't say distant. It's just, it's more of a friendship, you know what I mean? And I'm older too. I'm 25, 2 years older than her. But it's been hard, obviously, but this is the process of growing up, you know? And I think this is what a lot of people, I think there's a big issue in this country where there is a lack of self-accountability for people my age. And I'll just say that up front, you know, people between the age of 20 to 30 years old, you know, on the upper half, and I don't want to be the old guy like shitting on them, but I think there's just a lack of, self-accountability. There's a lot of people saying, like, blaming everything else in the world for their issues rather than just themselves, because, you know, everything that happens to you is a result of you. It's not a result of anybody else. Everything that you go through on a day-to-day basis, the place you live in, the job you work, the education you have, the knowledge you have is all a reflection of your decisions. And that sucks. You know, there's a lot of environmental impacts as well. But what you do with those incidents in your life, that's your decision, you know? And I think that's really important for people to understand, is that if you want to change your life, if you want to do a lot of things on your own. I have friends of mine who have places. I have friends of mine who are married, but I also know people who are just, they're so mad at I also know people, I wouldn't say friends, but I know people who have the house, have the wife, have everything, but they still tear down other people because they're living a life that's not true to themselves. And I think that's scary. You know, I think there's I think who's is it Robert Frost who's there's a guy who says the average man lives the average man lives a life the average man lives a life. I forget what the quote is. Maybe I can look it up. Robert Frost. The average man lives a life of quiet desperation. I think that's the quote. Yeah. This is Thoreau's. How to really avoid living a life of quiet desperation. Yeah. So this is this is Thoreau. The mass of men live lives of quiet desperation. This is most frequently used as a reason to following one's passion and achieving a life with avoids the mediocrity of playing it small and attains extraordinary expense. Wow. The stocks have been weird lately. Let's just say that they've been weird. But I think that's true, you know, and I think a lot of people I also think people there's a middle ground to it, right? There's a lot of people who do things and celebrate, and they convince themselves that what they did was great, and maybe it was great, but I think there's a lot of people who know that they can do so much better, but they're scared to do that. It's like the fear of possibly not doing it and possibly failing and having to tell your family that you failed, or, you know, telling your significant other that you failed. Like, I think that's really scary for a lot of people. You know, I think a lot of people don't like that. I think a lot of people don't want that. I think a lot of people just want an easy, soft, mediocre life, and that's fine. But I think if you're somebody where that keeps you up at night, it's not cool. Like, that's not good, because you're cheating yourself. You know, if you've ever been cheated on, you know how it feels. Imagine doing that to yourself, and you know your subconscious knows how you feel, but you're not letting yourself feel that way. You know, I think that's something a lot of people got to think about. So, but yeah, we're here. We're in Roanoke. We're enjoying it. The podcast should, at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks, should be up and running Tuesday, Thursday. I know it's been slow. My numbers are down, obviously, a good amount, because I haven't been uploading, which I totally get. People don't go back and watch podcasts. They watch podcasts every Tuesday and Thursday. And I actually know my podcast did pretty well for me only uploading 2 episodes. I think I only uploaded 2 episodes this month. Like, not much at all. Yeah, actually, my podcast did a lot better than I expected. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate that. November, oh my God, I think I only uploaded 1 this past month. Yeah. I only uploaded 1 podcast in January, or in December, and we're probably going to upload 8. Yeah, there's going to be 2 for the end of December. But you guys did a lot of listening for me on my old videos, and I appreciate that. And yeah, so that's kind of everything's been going. Whoa, I got my first listener in Saudi Arabia. Shout out to Saudi Arabia, man. Romania too. Man, y'all be wilding out there. Got the Middle East listening to my shit, dog. But yeah, guys. So I just want to give you guys a quick update. That's what's going on with me. We're in Roanoke. She's working full time. I'm in the process of working. I'm not going to show you guys the apartment. I don't really do YouTube vlogs anymore. Obviously, you guys know I used to do them. Well, I don't know if you know that, but I used to do them. I used to do vlogs all the time, and I said I was going to bring them back, but I said there was a lot of things I wanted to bring back, but it was hard because for like October, November, I knew we were moving away. I just didn't know when we were moving away. So there was a lot of like, should I start this? Should I not start this? And because I didn't want to start something and have it not do well, or have it stop early. And that was kind of my issue with the podcast. And that's why I uploaded 1, and I told you guys, like, it was super inconsistent, but it's going to be about 3 weeks since I uploaded, but we're back now. We're going to be doing Tuesday, Thursday, probably for all of January. But then what might happen is, depending on when I get this job and when I start working, I might have to adjust my schedule. I don't know if I'll be here during the day, so I might have to do 2 episodes over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, upload Tuesday and Thursday. Or what I might do is just maybe do 1 episode a week and just have it like an hour and a half long, just a longer episode so I can cover more topics. But outside of that, like I don't really plan on. I'm not gonna stop the podcast. I feel I feel this momentum, and it's a weird feeling. Like that was the longest I ever went without doing an episode. Now I've been doing this podcast since 2019 in the summertime. We're coming up on almost 3 years now. Like that's a long time, and I started doing podcasts when a lot of people started doing them, but they've exponentially grown, and I have thousands and tens of thousands of downloads on every platform you can imagine. And it's like, it was hard. And I started out doing episodes like 2, 3, 4 times a week, 3 to 5 episodes a week. I didn't know what I was doing. Then I established a Tuesday, Thursday rule, and I record Monday, Wednesday, and that fit my schedule, but my schedule's changing. So just be aware that it could change. I don't plan on changing it, but there's a possibility it could change. And if it does change, just know I'm trying my hardest to balance out work and also the podcast. But I do feel this momentum behind the podcast, and it's hard for me to explain, but since I haven't done it and since I haven't taken a break like that, and trust me, that break wasn't because I was like not gonna do it, don't feel like it was like I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I wasn't in town. Like I wasn't here. I wasn't near my mic. And when I was in town, I was studying. It's so hard to do a podcast for when you should be studying. Like I gotta be studying right now, but I haven't started studying this, and I have time. Right, I have 2 to 3 weeks, and I got my foot in the door, and I know these exams, and I know what I'm about to study. I'm passionate. I'm much more passionate with what I'm about to study now than what I studied before. I knew nothing about. But what I'm about to study, I do every single day. So it's going to be easier to connect the dots with what I'm about to get into. But I was choosing not to upload, but I literally, and I know I've said this before in episodes, but like if your excuse is you don't have time, I think I might have had time, but if I did do them, it would have hurt other things in my life. And there was just a moment in my life where I had to do this. I had to graduate. I had to do these exams. I had to do these final exams. I had to do these projects / presentations. I had to go see apartments. I had to save money to pay for a lease. Like there was just things that must be done. So I had to buckle down and just get them done. And I feel like I did a good job, and we're in a good place now. But for like this next between now and next month, you would see episodes Tuesday and Thursday. So I think 6 a.m. is when I upload them. So 6 a.m. It's going to happen. We're not going to get off of that. But then after that, leading into February to I don't know when, I'm going to attempt for 2 episodes, but it could possibly be 1 episode. Hour and a half long episode, not a 40-minute episode. Don't want to cheat you guys on that. But yeah, that's enough about me. I don't really know what I want to get into too much. I haven't really been keeping up with the news. Obviously, the whole COVID thing is going crazy now. Fauci says U.S. should consider domestic travel COVID vaccine mandate. There's a lot of this COVID thing is. I now live in Virginia, and just for the week that I've been here, not even a week, just like 5-6 days that I've been here, they treat COVID a lot different than Maryland and Annapolis. Around here, you don't need to wear a mask anywhere. And around here, no one's really judging you if you do wear a mask, if you don't wear a mask. They're just much more conservative with that. Whereas back in Annapolis, it was a lot more, you didn't have to wear a mask, but if you didn't, like I wouldn't wear a mask in stores. I would keep one on my wrist if I went in an Apple store. Some stores still require them. And I'm not going to, if a business requires you to wear a mask, but the local policy in the counties, you don't have to wear a mask. And that's another thing. Like a lot of people don't know their local mandates. Like when I lived in Annapolis, I knew my local mandates. I wasn't going to sit there and have an argument and not know I was right. Like in the state of Maryland, there was no mask mandates, but in certain counties, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, there were mask mandates. So you have to wear a mask. And even though I don't think you should have to wear a mask, just like I don't think you should have to get a vaccine, I'm going to listen to the business, because I've had businesses, and if the customer has to pay a certain amount of shipping. That's just how it is. And if you don't want to, well, you don't buy from my website. Same thing with the mask. Like, well, if you don't want to wear a mask, well, then you don't want the product. You should want the product should make you want to put a mask on. If the biggest issue is a mask, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people don't look at it from that lens. A lot of people look like it's infringing on their rights, and I could see that in perspective of the vaccine. But with the mask, it's like, put yourself in the business. You don't know what the business owner does. You don't know if they live with their old with their parents that are old. You don't know. And also, you don't know if they have an autoimmune disorder. And also, it's like, it's just a rule. It's businesses, public domain, man. They're allowed to do what they want, And I think a lot of people have forgotten that. People have, this vaccine and mask thing has become such an identity. It's like, I don't know why it's like that way. Like, for me, here's my perspective on vaccines. If you want to get the shots, get them. The shots do keep severe COVID. In theory, they keep severe. They prevent you from. They give you a better chance of not dying and not going to the hospital when you get COVID. And from that perspective, that's why I got the shot. Also, at the time that I got the shot, and this is where I give people credit who are anti-vaccines. At the time I got the shot in March of 2020. Maybe it was May 2020. I think it was March. I was pretty early. I got Moderna. At the time, the people would say it would prevent you from getting COVID. And now we're at this point now where it keeps you from dying, but you can still get it. Like, I remember breakthrough cases was so rare. So, like, you got to look at it from both perspectives. So for those people who are vaccine and they demand everyone to get a vaccine, you got to think about from the person's perspective who they're not anti-vaccine, but there's a lot of people out there who don't trust the government for a lot of good reasons. The government is slimy. The people in the government are slimy. Nancy Pelosi's up there on the stage. She's worth $200 million, but she only makes $150K a year or whatever. She's worth $200 million. And she buys and sells stocks like crazy. It's insane to me. And they asked her a question. You can Google it. Nancy Pelosi asked about stock market. You can clearly tell she's uncomfortable. You can clearly tell she's been caught. You can clearly tell she's lying. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can't blame people to look at the government and be like, no, F you, I'm not listening to you. Why are you telling me what to do? Why are you guys forcing these vaccines down my throat? Is it really about the safety? Is it actually about the safety? Because if it was about the safety, we would be pushing health. We would be pushing nutrition. We would be pushing exercise fitness. And so I understand and I don't like the word anti-vaxxer. Like, I'm not anti-vaxxer, but I know plenty of people who are vaccinated with a lot of things, but they just don't want the vaccine, and they're not a bad person. They just don't want to get vaccinated. And like, salute to you, man. You're an American. Like, that's beautiful. Don't get it then. But like, people, I think there's also people out there who have been vaccinated and they regret their decision. So they lash out towards other people who also have not been vaccinated. But it's like this, it's like, have you been boosted yet? It's like, I haven't been boosted yet. I don't even know if I'm gonna get boosted. I thought about getting boosted, but then I was like, eh. And now I honestly believe that COVID is going towards a route of an endemic. Was it an epidemic? Yeah, an epidemic, where it's here to stay. This Omicron looks so promising. Like, I think I like a lot of people are like, I think Fauci and these people are still like fear mongering. Like, it's I think the thing that the biggest side effect right now of COVID is death, obviously, but also a cold will kill you if you're fat and you're out of shape and you have you don't take care of yourself. A cold's gonna put you 6 feet under. But I think right now the thing that is most dangerous with COVID is the hospitalizations. I think if the hospitalizations were an issue, it seems like COVID used to be a pandemic because you were scared that you could die. But then once we realized about the death numbers and just actually how low they are, it became the opportunity cost. Well, I don't know if that sounds, opportunity cost is usually positive. I mean this in a bad way, of someone getting COVID and taking up a hospital bed. That's the thing that upsets me. The thing that does upset me about people who are like super anti-vaccines is it does give you a better chance of not dying. And a lot of people, I'm laughing because it's absurd. I'm not laughing because it's funny. But a lot of people who are dying are not vaccinated, and that's the risk you take. Do you want to get the vaccine and risk whatever side effects that you made up in your head, or any side effects that are true? Myopia, mycedia, myopia, whatever it is, heart myopathy, or whatever it is. Is that worth you possibly dying if you do get sick? And also I think there's a correlation with people who don't want to get vaccinated, and their health levels are probably not the best. And I think that's I think I think that's where the positivity of getting vaccinated is. And here's also the truth: they don't stop COVID. We know that. We know 80% of this country is vaccinated, but COVID numbers are going through the roof. They don't stop COVID, and you can make a case that it doesn't decrease your chance. And I'm not even looking at like metadata. I'm just looking at just the charts. You just Google United States COVID. You can see like the COVID goes up when people have a false sense of security. Like COVID goes up when everyone gets vaccinated because everyone's out in public, and we all thought that it protect you from it, but it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. And the narrative is complete nonsense right now because people are like, I don't think they're gonna lock him down. The mayor of New York City, the African American gentleman, Eric Adams, I think his name is Eric Adams, former police officer, Democrat, pro police. Salute to him. He says they're not locking back down. They're not gonna lock back down, but like they're canceling things. Like my freaking college is canceling like sporting events. The University of Maryland's canceling a walk, but the Ravens are still playing. The Redskins are still playing 10 miles down the street. Like, come on, bro. Like that's what really pissed me off. A lot of these places are saving money now and using COVID as an excuse to save money. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. It's BS. It really does make me mad. But yeah, guys, we're back. Podcasts are back. We're not going anywhere. We're here. We're in Roanoke. We're gonna turn up. We're gonna take over this town, this city. Look up. It's blowing up, dude. I'm telling you, it's growing, man. Roanoke is growing. But thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday. Thank you so much. Peace out. See ya. Have a beautiful, beautiful